In the headlines, Samuel Anyanwu emerges PDP candidate in Imo governorship poll slated for November 11. 14-year-old boy killed, 2 others injured in Ogun flash floods. Federal government to install 495 million naira baggage scanners in railway stations. Last on the international scene, North Korea fires possible new type ballistic missile. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. Now the news in detail. The National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Samuel Anyanwu, has emerged as the consensus candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the governorship election slated for November 11 in Imo State. And while declaring Anyanwu as the winner, Chairman of the Electoral Committee, Kenneth Okon, noted that the primary election was peaceful and fair, saying the PDP is ready for the forthcoming poll. In his speech, Anyanwu promised to redesign Imo State with a view to lifting the people from poverty, suffering, hardship and insecurity, which he regretted bedeviled the state. He expressed delight of his emergence as a consensus candidate of the PDP, even as he thanked the party for conducting a peaceful primary election. The primary election was held at the party secretariat on Wednesday. Anyanwu polled 802 votes to emerge winner. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is prepared to conduct a free and fair elections in the supplementary elections that is in Adamawa State. The resident electoral commissioner, Hudu Yunusa, disclosed this during a stakeholders meeting held in Yola on the governorship and state constituencies supplementary elections. Salis Lawan has the report.
With barely 2 days to the governorship and state constituency supplementary election, INEC is resolute that it will deliver a credible election. The governorship supplementary election is scheduled to hold across 20 local government areas in 69 polling units, with 42,785 total registered voters and 36,935 collected PVCs. The resident electoral commissioner, Barrister Hudu Yunusa, is urging officials of political parties to ensure that only one agent accredited by the commission will be allowed at the polling units and collation center during the election.
This has made it imperative, as we have consistently assured our various stakeholders, that the commission will regularly consult you with a view to updating you on the preparations towards ensuring free, fair, credible, and all-inclusive election. In our commitment to transparency, the Commission is making available to you the comprehensive list of polling units by their names, code numbers, location by local governments, and registration areas.
Present at the stakeholders meeting are leaders of various security agencies.
Particularly, we were deliberating on the issue of polling agent in respective polling unit and collation centers. So yesterday there was a kind of argument. Others were saying 2 per political party. Others were saying 1. We want to use this avenue and thank the REC for putting the clarification and authentic record of those that will represent their respective political parties in polling unit and collation center. Thank you very much.
As INEC continues to meet with relevant stakeholders to strategize ahead of the recent election, various groups are clamoring for a transparent and credible result. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
And away from Adamawa State, the Kogi State House of Assembly Majority Leader Mukhtar Baje, APC Okehi, has resigned his position in protest of the terrorist tag thrown at him and 8 other colleagues. The state governor, Yahya Bello, had on March 23 branded 9 of the 25 assembly members as terrorists for their alleged roles during the March 18 House of Assembly elections held in the state. Bello had requested the legislature in a letter to the Speaker, Matthew Kolawole, to suspend the 9 members, including the majority leader, and investigate their roles during the Assembly election. But Baje, in a letter to the House, informed them of his resolve to step down from the majority leader's position. A motion was moved by the Deputy Speaker, Alpha Momorabiu, for the nomination of a substitute in the person of the Chief Whip, Ahmed Dahiru, to replace Baje as the majority leader, and the members unanimously accepted Dahiru as their new majority leader. The only female aspirant in the race for the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives, Mariam Onuoha, has urged the federal government to declare a state of emergency on the dwindling number of women in the parliament for equity and inclusivity. The lawmaker, who represents Okigwe North in Imo State, made the call in Abuja on Wednesday while declaring her interest in the office of Speaker of the 10th Legislative Assembly. The report.
At last, a woman has indicated her interest in leading the 10th House of Representatives. Mariam Onuoha says her emergence as Speaker will usher in pragmatic solutions to the current challenges of national cohesion. She's also promising to prefer a new legislative agenda that would address the current debilitating issues of the nation's dwindling economy. She's also proposing the promotion of bills that support industrialization and creation of more jobs, inclusivity, and unity of the Nigerian state.
Something drastic, something deliberate has to be done to ensure that the number of women participation in politics is increased. We are all aware that the last election witnessed low turnout. Low turnout owing to the fact, partly, that women who largely control the votes might have been cut out, owing to the fact that there is poor inducement of their fellow women to vote. And even with the small numbers that came out, over 60% of the voters have been proved to be women. How best and how best can this teeming Nigerian female voters be rewarded, if not by electing a woman on the presiding seat of the National Assembly and the House of Representatives, in particular, to be a thank you.
Representative Onuoha went on to reel out a 7-point agenda for the 10th National Assembly under her watch, which includes the digitization of activities of the Rules and Business Committee and improvement of the legislative policy action to promote the interests of women and vulnerable groups, among others.
It is not possible for a man to speak for us on issues that bother women when we have credible and qualified women like myself. I am ranking. I am also of the All Progressives Congress. I qualify and I suitably am able to oust all the men on this contest. And like you are aware, in almost all, about 90 positions of this country, the men have dominated it. Ceding this one position to me will be a way of proving that we are running an inclusive government.
She gave assurances that her emergence will create opportunities for National Assembly stakeholders' engagement to provide access for public participation in lawmaking.
And on a sad note, a 14-year-old boy has been confirmed dead and 2 others injured following the flash floods that hit Shagamu town in Shagamu local government area of Ogun State on Tuesday after a downpour. A state commissioner for environment, Ola Oroswinya, made the disclosure on Wednesday while carrying out an on-the-spot assessment of the areas affected by the floods. Oroswinya, while commiserating with those affected, addressed some of the short, medium and long-term solutions, including dredging of canals and desilting of blocked drainages. Speaking on the plans of the state government, the commissioner said the redesign of the drainage master plan of the state had become imperative and called on the federal government for assistance to ameliorate the perennial challenges. With the return of the rainy season, attitudinal change among Ogun residents remain paramount to avert more fatalities. Reports say the mood in the affected communities, including Awolowo Market and Makun areas, was sullen, given the aftermath of the incident, including lost and damaged property. Farmers on the banks of River Kaduna are calling on the incoming government in the state to train them in modern farming techniques and provide them farm inputs that will boost their crop production. The farmers are still lamenting their bad experience during last year's flood and say this has been compounded by a crop disease presently ravaging their product. Trust TV's Bello Musa reports.
For decades, farmers on the Kaduna River bank have supplied vegetables and other crops to the Kaduna metropolis. Despite advances in technology, these farmers are still applying old methods of farming to produce crops. We inherited the farms and the farming from our fathers, and we learned from them and developed more agricultural techniques on the job because we didn't have privilege of learning from school. We learned agriculture from our fathers and consolidated on what they taught us. Though in the past, experts came here and educated us on how to go with our farming activities. And now, a strange disease is ravaging their crops due to what they refer to as unpredictable weather, which is probably a result of climate change. Like tomato and garden egg, they grow in cold season, but due to mixed weather condition we are experiencing now, our tomato and garden eggs are affected with the disease and we harvest at loss. There are different insects damaging our crops, though we spray pesticide, but the insects are still damaging our tomatoes, garden egg, and other crops. Floods are a big threat to these farmers as they destroy their crops every year. Still trying to recover from last year's flood, they have devised alternate strategies to avoid damage by the flood. When we envisage flood, to avoid destruction of plants by the flood, we plant early so that we can harvest before the flood comes. We suffered a lot from flood. Last year, it submerged up to this place and farm produce destroyed. No help came from any authorities. Their hope is on the new government in the state to improve agriculture by equipping them with modern knowledge and making available modern farm input in order to boost food security in the state. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested 11 persons for internet fraud in Jere and Maiduguri local government areas of Borno State. This was disclosed by the Commission's spokesperson Wilson Uwajere in a statement on Wednesday in Abuja. He said the suspects were arrested on Wednesday in a sting operation following credible intelligence on the alleged criminal activities. He said the suspects will be charged to court as soon as the investigation is concluded. Items recovered at their residence included one Mercedes-Benz, a Toyota Corolla saloon car, smartphones, MTN 4G Wi-Fi, and power banks. You're watching Trust TV News Update. Still to come, we'll take a look at the popularity of watermelon during Ramadan. Details of this story and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Good morning, Nigeria. Year after year, they have informed, educated, and entertained us. When you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
And now, this service will finally be recognized.
Come May 17th this year, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather at a hotel and suites for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and excellence in the broadcast media. Voting starts on 20th April and ends on 4th May 2023. Visit www.tnbawards.ng to vote now. They've served and they're still serving. It's time we say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, Bonn.
That's great.
Welcome back. This is the news updates on Trust TV. A reminder of our top stories. We told you earlier that Samuel Anyanwu, emergent PDP candidate in Imo governorship poll, slated for 11th November. And a 14-year-old boy killed, 2 others injured in Ogun flash floods. And moving on to other news. The federal government has approved a 6.2 billion naira maintenance contract for the third mainland bridge in Lagos. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola announced this while briefing newsmen at State House Abuja at Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting. The maintenance contract came on the same day steps were taken by the cabinet to improve security at the rail stations across the country. To this end, it awarded contracts for the purchase of baggage scanners that will be installed at all train stations in the country. Kendi Amodu has more.
This week's Federal Executive Council meeting was chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, with President Muhammadu Buhari away to Saudi Arabia. Top on the agenda of the day was a 6 billion naira contract for a 2-year maintenance contract for the third mainland bridge in Lagos. People are curious what work was done on the bridge earlier to warrant a remobilization of contractors to site.
Now, some of you might ask, and I was asked before that, okay, we did some work on the third mainland bridge before, where are there potholes now on it? So this contract responds to the potholes that have become manifest on the entire pavement of the deck of the bridge, spanning 11 kilometers, and the interchanges, Adeniji Adele, Adekunle, and Bagada ramps that all link the bridge. This is for the resurfacing of all of that.
Also on Wednesday, the cabinet moved to shore up security on Nigeria's rail transport system with the award of a 95 million naira contract for the purchase and installation of baggage scanners at train stations across the country. The Minister of State for Transportation is giving assurances that the baggage scanners will be fully operational.
The company that has been given the job is reputable and has the capacity, and I can assure you that government will not do anything which will not be in the best interest of our country, and that sector is very important. We don't want anything to go wrong with it. You remember that some time ago something happened on that the Abuja Kaduna Railway. So we are taking steps to ensure that all of these things become a thing of the past. So I can assure you that the baggage scanners will be there, and it will serve the purpose for which they will be installed.
The Minister of Works and Housing also got approvals for the upward review of the contract cost of the Enugu-Onitsha Road by over 17 billion naira, which revised the final contract sum to 48.99 billion naira. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development also received approval for recruitment of extension service agents responsible for providing information to farmers on products available. From State House Abuja, Kendi Amodu, Trust TV News.
Now, watermelon is the most commonly consumed fruit among Muslims, especially during fasting period. because it keeps the body hydrated. In this special report, Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin takes a look at the health benefits of watermelon and how affordable the fruit is in Kano. Take a look.
Watermelon is a sweet and refreshing low-calorie fruit that provide hydration. Rich in an amino acid, the fruit is believed to help move blood through the body and can also lower blood pressure.
Watermelon, they are very, very important in human consumption in terms of fulfilling the micronutrient needed, because human body need macronutrient and micronutrient. Those micronutrients are found in fruit and vegetable, which is watermelon is among the fruits that are very rich in terms of essential nutrients that can even catalyze and improve boosting the immunity of individual.
In order to keep the body hydrated after long hours of non-eating and drinking, most people consume much of watermelon during fasting.
Watermelon, it contains essential amount known as iron and copper. That iron and copper is very, very vital in terms of producing of red blood cell and white blood cell, which is the iron and copper is integral component of microorganisms that even produce the body, the essential phytochemicals that can even destroy the unwanted higher oxygen species known as free radicals.
Over the years, this fruit is known to be cheaper and can be used by all irrespective of their financial or social status. But not anymore. I've been here for the past 2 hours looking for what to buy so that I can be able to go and sell it to my customers in an affordable price. Unfortunately, the situation is not what you think. The watermelon that we used to buy 20,000 naira last year is now 40,000 naira this year. This is one of the largest markets within Kano metropolis where watermelon is sold in large quantity. But traders here say struggling to remain in business this year is increasingly becoming difficult. Honestly, the high cost of fuel is among the major problem that led to the high increase in the price of watermelon. Because where we used to go and buy this watermelon is far from Kano city. And sometimes the amount we are paying, like last year, is about 200,000 naira. But this year is about 250 to even 270,000 naira before you even get the watermelon to Kano. High cost of transportation, inadequate or complete lack of improved seeds, fertilizer, among other modern farming equipment is gradually killing watermelon farming in northern Nigeria. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And away from Nigeria, North Korea has launched a new type of ballistic missile that landed in the waters between the Korean Peninsula and Japan, prompting Tokyo to launch a strong protest after fears that the weapon might land in or near its northern island of Hokkaido led to an evacuation order. And South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff said the North Korean missile was launched at a lofted angle on Thursday from a location near the capital of Pyongyang at 7:23 a.m. The missile, suspected to be intermediate range or longer, flew from about 1,000 kilometers in the direction of the waters between the Korean Peninsula and Japan before falling into the sea. The JCS added, describing the launch as a grave provocative act. Following Thursday's launch, Seoul convened an emergency meeting of its National Security Council, which also condemned the North Korean test. In Washington, D.C., the White House also criticized the launch, which it said was a brazen violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions, and urged countries to condemn Pyongyang's test activities in the strongest terms. In sports, Niger Rattles of Abuja squandered an opportunity to qualify for the Super 6 with a last-minute sport kick missed by Adube as they shared the spoils against visiting Delta Cranes. Trust TV's Adeni Ajishafe was there and filed in this report.
Nigeria Women Football League Matchday 13 fixture between Abuja-based Niger Rattles and Delta Queens are the teams lock-ons at Old Parade Ground Area 10 football pitch. The match started with both teams squaring up for early goals. Ratel ladies nearly opened scoring a close shape of action in the early minute, then mixed narrowly. A tough duel for the teams as they both struggled to make impact in the first half, with Delta Queens holding back to absorb pressure from Nigeria Ratels. A fierce shot from Amina Bello could have made a difference for the home team, with Delta Queens goalie parried to a corner kick to end the first half. The beginning of the second half saw much pressure from Ratels, pressing for goals as back-to-back opportunities to score went wide, courtesy of Amina's Bello. A foul awarded to Delta Queens in the 58th minute would have been a good shot at goal for Delta Queens, played to a wrong side of the pitch by Chisom Henry. A miss by Alaba in the 68th minute squandered a good chance to earn a lead for Nigeria Ratels, while Delta Queens also made moves for goal with some tactical display curtailed by Ratels goalkeeper. A last-minute penalty played by Adugbe was well caught by Delta Queens goalkeeper to deny Nigeria Ratels the opportunity to qualify for Super 6. Assistant captain of Delta Queens, Chisom Henry, said the goalless draw was as a result of hard work and perseverance to withstand the heat from Ratels.
So we have to give it all out to make sure that, yes, it's a fight to finish. We still want to add because it will help us where we are going to Super 6. We must not give up of any kind.
Delta Queens are more concerned about winning the Super 6 that they have secured qualification even before the encounter against Nigeria Ratels, with 80% preparation ahead of Super 6 as expressed by Coach Tosun Blankson.
We are not looking for points anymore. We are looking for how we're going to put our heads together and get Super 6 right. We're after Super 6. Like I said in most of my interviews, having 1 million points is nothing. Winning the Super 6 is everything.
Nigeria Ratels' hope of making it to the Super 6 was dashed at home ground in Abuja, though Ratel ladies remain in the race for NWFL next season. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
Thank you, Adeni Ajishafe. And that brings us to the close of the news updates at this hour. For more, you can follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. On behalf of the news crew, thank you for watching and stay tuned.